Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with the man that is so smooth he does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real, still the real Anthony D. And your main man, Jersey's finest, the hood representative, Uncle Freezy.
Are we meeting today?
Yo. Bro, I hate the Celtics, bro. I ain't even gonna lie.
You hate the Celtics. God damn it. I love the stylistics. What are we talking about?
Yeah, the stylistics.
Hurry up this way again. I love you.
Yeah.
Stop playing, Freezy.
They alright, bro. They alright.
I'll hit that high note in a hot second. The Stylistics are one of the greatest R&B groups ever to get behind the microphone. Good morning, listeners.
Yeah. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody watching us on replay. The Stylistics are alright, bro.
Freezy. When you hear "Hurry Up This Way Again" and how it starts, do doom do doom doom doom, do doom do doom doom doom, do 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 doom, doom do doom, do doom, dun 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 dun. Come on, stop playing, Uncle Freezy, stop playing.
I'm just, bro. I'm biased, right? I'm biased.
Yes,
because I prefer the Manhattans over them. And the Spinners. You know, the Spinners are my group.
Dude, the Manhattan has got one of my favorite records. How about us?
Yeah. Jersey City in the building.
Jersey City in the building, baby. Salute.
Yeah.
Knicks fans, salute.
That's how we start, man. Jersey City is known for music, bro.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Music and bean pies. Salute to my Muslim community out in Jersey.
It's the culture, bro. It's the culture where we from, bro.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah. Give me a bean pie special.
And I told the story. And I know I told this story like a million times, right? About how Iceman used to live on our block, right? And I didn't know about his culture because I was raised as a Baptist. I mean, deep down south, Southern Baptist. That's where my family come from. Down in the Carolinas, they moved to Jersey, and for a number of reasons, right? I ain't gonna get into that, but Iceman used to treat me so well, and he used to make me be a man. And even though I was like 7 years old, Iceman, give me a cigarette. Who you talking to, young fella?
What? Punch in the chest.
Yeah.
Because that's what old school dudes did back. That's how they solved everything about growing up as a young man. Punch in the chest.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I made the elementary school team as a sixth grader because I was tall, right? You know how they were the elementary school team. You got to be seventh and eighth grade. I made it as a sixth grader, right? Because I was tall, right? I think I was like 5'9" as a sixth grader, right? And so it's just
playing with 4'4" dudes. Oh,
yeah, and out there wearing ponies. But anyway, I remember I made the team, and like one Saturday morning we was out there running, and a dude throws Iceman a pass and it's behind him, and I pick it off going the other way. I was running full speed, bro. And
of course you're running full speed because you 5'9". Nobody can catch you.
And AD, I took off and I cocked that thing back, bro. And for those watching, for everybody watching, salute to y'all. Back in the day, the dunk to do if you want to show off was the Statue of Liberty dunk, where you get it and you do your hand like this and keep your hand in the air like this Statue of Liberty. And so I got ready to do that Statue of Liberty dunk. And all I could remember is picking rocks out of my face from getting rolled up. You know how like they have the black fence around the court, and you know at the bottom of the fence be curled up. You know, pull the fence up so they won't have to walk around.
Right.
And so I was down there in that little cut down there, and I was like, "Yo, what happened?" And I looked up, and it was Iceman. Iceman was like, "If you ever try to dunk on me again, I'm gonna kill you." And, and no lie, bro. Think about it. He was headed this way, and I'm headed the opposite way. He missed the pass. I pick it off. I'm going the other way. I'm going to dunk on all these old dudes, bro. And they are, and mind you, these old dudes is out here playing in bro games in construction boots. This is pre-Timberland, everybody. This is when you know dudes used to work construction or whatever, uptown, downtown, buildings, carpet working all that. I'll never forget, man. I'm like, yo, what happened? And I look up, and it's Iceman. He looking down on me like, hey, you ever try to dunk on me again, kid? I'm gonna kill you. I was like, wow, Iceman, really? I'm 12. You 40 years old, bro. I'm 12 years old, and you gonna knock me out the air like it's a Pistons playoff series?
You two can get it.
I noticed.
That was the motto. You too can get it.
Yes. I'm Exhibit A, bro.
Absolutely.
I probably still got them scars on my ribs, bro.
Absolutely.
And you better not cry either.
I tell you, growing up as a kid. So where we at this morning, Freezy? What's going on,
bro? And you love the Stylistics.
Well, we Knicks fans, so we all hate the Celtics.
Are you drinking Baileys?
No, that's it's similar to Bailey's. That's a rum cream that my mom gave me. That's a Ray and Nephew special rum cream that my mom gave me, that to settle my soul.
That must be
It looks like Bailey's though.
Hand to the man. That must be some type of West Indian thing. That's
a Ray and Nephew is the official rum, or better yet, the official rum maker, in Jamaica since I was whatever. And it makes like their 100 proof rum is, if you really want to test your merit, like them old dudes back then, it was one or two things they chased it with if they wasn't going to go straight to the head, which is water and a splash of milk.
Oh, wow. So
if you see one of them dudes back then, even now, don't sit down with them and try to drink, because it ain't gonna go well for you. So shout out to Ray and Nephew and
shout out to the culture.
Absolutely, the rum cream. So why are we hating the Celtics this morning? They were good.
Well, let me say something just real quick. I just wanted to piss off an entire nation. But how about when I go in the Jamaican store, can somebody please be at the counter? Yo, come on, man. I just want to piss off an entire nation. Salute to all my Jamaicans, man.
Trevor.
I just want to ask one question, man. Can somebody please be at the counter when I get? I mean, bro, it's like when you walk in, it's like you in there by yourself. And then you see dude like you see an old man come out the back with like a soccer jersey on or something. And you like, bro, I've been in here 30 minutes.
He come out there acting like he trying to buy something from you.
Yeah.
Freeze it, what you want?
And don't be asking me no. I'm the customer. Don't come out. Yo, Jamaica. Yo, don't come out in the back. Don't come out the back asking me no questions like I work there. That's $1.99. I don't know. This your store. Salute to everybody.
Salute to my Caribbean community. Absolutely. So yes, you're despising the Celtics because they're in the number one position. I get it.
No. I think I despise them because it seems like they're always in that spot.
Over the last 10 years, there have been,
Over the last 50 years, bro.
basically.
Yeah, because if you ask me what team dominated our division in the last 50 years, it's only one.
It would be the Celtics, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm in feeling some type of way about them being that.
Well, I mean, you can't hate someone for putting the right people in place to run their organization and focusing on championships while you're focusing on nonsense.
Yes, I can.
Red Auerbach is from New York, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He
Pat,
built,
Pat
he
Riley is Pat
built,
Riley's from New York too, right?
I'm not sure, but I know Auerbach is, and he built the Celtics. He's the
Yeah.
one that started laying the bricks for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Red Auerbach's point guard, Bob Cousy, is from New
Bob
York.
Cousy's from New York as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went out there and did something. That's a story that I would like to know. Like, did the Knicks ever try and pull him away from Boston?
Man.
That's a story I would like to know from any of the old heads that was around at that time, because he just built a machine while the Knicks were just Ray Williams.
Ray Williams. Oh my God.
Rory Sparrow.
And then traded the pick. We out there, we could have legit possibly have traded up for Len Bias, but we don't have the stuff because we traded a pick in that draft for Ray Williams to come back. I think we took Kenny Walker in that draft, right?
No, that draft is Bias is what, 86? Yes.
Yeah,
No.
we took Kenny Walker.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, we took Kenny Walker, and we could have took them two picks and traded up to get. We of course, we weren't gonna take Brad Daugherty because we already had Pat and Cartwright.
If you're gonna say it right, say Kenny Walker.
Every time I think of him, I always think Obi Toppin, bro. I always think Obi, bro.
If he don't change his career trajectory, it definitely will be Kenny Skywalker.
Oh my God! Oh my goodness!
Them light skinned dudes can jump.
Yeah,
well, outside of you, Freezy,
I can't.
And your 5'9" endeavors.
I'm gonna make a movie for all my black people. It's gonna be called "Light Man Can't Jump."
Oh God!
For the culture, light man can't jump. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I hate the Celtics, bro. And the thing about it is I've over the course of the last week or so, I noticed the Celtics get all the breaks. Right? They get all the stuff. Like everything always seems to go right for the Celtics. Right. Now I know that's not true because they had tragedy in their organization. You know what I'm saying? But it just seems like everything always breaks right for the Lakers and the Celtics.
If the league, at the time, especially the owners and stuff like that, they were really being honest, and you never want to celebrate when someone dies, especially that's not your own and so forth. But
right.
I'm sure they were tap dancing when Bias died because it was going to be another leg, pause,
right,
another extension.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking about it, they're about to match Bias, Bird, McHale, or Bias, Bird, Parrish, put McHale back to the sixth man.
Yeah, Reggie Lewis
is about to. I mean, because Bird is about to start with the injuries.
Yeah.
So he would have been a natural fit.
Yeah.
To take you to Pierce and whatever. If you're more than likely you probably wouldn't have gotten him, because if you'd have had Bias, you'd had Bias for 15 years, and that means 15 years of success. So that means that you wouldn't have been, in a draft position.
No, they would have got their man. It's Boston. They got their man, bro.
I mean, at that time they did.
Yeah.
Because the league was like, Boston just did what? They traded, they got where? They just won the championship the year before or in the finals. And how are you able to get, if not the best player in college, 1-2?
Yeah. You know how they did it, right?
They cheated.
Philadelphia was tearing down their dynasty. They caught the right team at the right time. Philadelphia was tearing down that Dr. J dynasty, and that's
Yes.
how they got the number 2 pick.
Well, I don't know if we want to say dynasty at that point. They won the championship. They were knocking on the door years before that. So I don't want to say dynasty.
Well, you're right.
That was just a great team.
Championship run. Yeah.
And they were right for that, because if you remember, the following year, your favorite, Sugar Ray and the Nets knocked them out in the first round.
Yeah.
Doc is now 36. Moses is 34, maybe 33, 34.
Yeah.
And they draft Charles Barkley.
Yep.
So them in Boston were kind of like in the same position. They drafting Barkley in 84. 2 years later, the Celtics are drafting Bias.
With the
so
number
then, with the number 2 pick, Barkley was the number 4 pick in 84, something like that, or 85, 4 or 5, or something to that effect. Yeah. And that's what positive teams that are looking to add on to championships do. They're looking for the next thing to get them, the next extension.
Right.
So Philly wasn't a dynasty, but if you remember them late 70s, early 80s, those Philly teams with Caldwell Jones and
Bobby Jones
and Dawkins and Will Be Free and all those guys, they kept knocking on the door. They were there, and they were there every year.
Yep.
Mo Cheeks, Henderson, I remember that because every Sunday it seemed like they were playing. It seemed like they were either playing Milwaukee, Boston, or the Lakers.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. And the thing about that is front offices are gonna make the right moves, right? So for instance, if Boston didn't get, say if Len Bias would have survived and they wouldn't have been drafting high in the draft, right? They still would have found a Kevin Gamble type player somewhere. They still would have found a Dino Roger. They still would have found a John Bagley. They still would have found a D Brown. Remember D Brown? All those guys that I mentioned, they were late picks, right?
Yes. Brian Shaw, all of those guys were like late first round. Yeah. Bagley out of Boston College. Bagley could never get himself in proper conditioning. But Brown, Shaw, Lewis, that was kind of like the next Gamble. That was kind of like the next, foundation. And then Shaw, remember, I think after his first year, he then goes to Europe.
Yep.
He had something like I don't know if he was he a second round pick or something, that some kind of out in his contract. I saw him talking about it recently.
Yep.
And I think Italy offered him more money than the Celtics were.
Yep.
The Celtics then, I think he plays a year in Italy or Greece,
killing it.
Yeah, killing it. And then he comes back. The Celtics offered him like $200,000 or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And he was threatened. Some kind of stalemate was going on. The Celtics had to end up giving him like a 3-year, 4-year deal at back then $6 million.
They sued him.
Yeah, they were suing him. Yeah, it was a big thing, but he had the upper hand on them, and eventually he got his contract.
Got that, Brad.
Yeah, eventually he did.
Yeah, and then they traded him to Miami.
But they were going through a lot, because if you remember, before they got those guys, Boston is one of those cities and one of those teams that I shouldn't say this, but they looked at that time for the Great White Hope. Because if you remember, they drafted a kid named Smith. Smith, they had a couple of other guys. And I remember Bird saying, here we go again, drafting big, slow white guys.
Yep.
I can't remember Smith's first name. It's been a minute. But that, the Dino Rogers of the world, they were kind of looking for like the next white savior to go up against the Jack Johnsons of the world, in the NBA. And that was kind of like besides not knowing when to let go of their Hall of Fame front court. One of their Hall of Fame backcourt members, Dennis Johnson. They held on to those guys too long.
Yeah.
And then they had their what they have 10 years of horrible basketball, basically, until they got Pierce.
Part of it was, I think your point is accurate. Part of it was, when it comes to guys like Larry Bird, you don't want to force him to retire. You don't want it to be over. You don't want it to be ill will, right? Because you remember after the 90 season, they let Dennis Johnson walk in free agency. And then in 91 or 92, I think it might have been 91 or 92, they let Parrish walk in free agency.
Right.
And then McHale and Bird were kind of like semi-retired. Remember, they had their young kids playing. Right. Remember, it was D. Brown, Brian Shaw, Sherman Douglas, Kevin Gamble, Reggie Lewis,
Ed Pickney. They didn't draft Pickney, but they got him. I can't remember how they got him, but I remember Pickney was on their team at some point.
Right.
So they kind of like went back to pre-Bird, those pre-Bird years, when they weren't successful, those couple of pre-Bird years, they kind of went right back to that after Bird, which any team is going to do. You don't lose one of the greatest ball players of all time, an icon, and think, well,
we'll be back this year.
It doesn't work like that.
No, it don't work like that.
No.
It don't work like. But the one thing about Boston, I'll give them credit for, and I was reading in the chat. AD, look at this. Ironically, a dude named Joe White says Reggie Lewis and Len Bias tragedies set them back.
Real wow.
Shout out to one of the greatest point guards,
Joe White. Absolutely,
man. I love, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't even, man.
Lewis almost devastated. I mean, Bias was devastating, but Lewis was just like, let's fold the tent. Like, what is going on here?
The Bias thing was an absolute shocker.
Yeah.
Right. The Bias thing was a shocker because there were no signs. But Reggie Lewis had the heart condition and was seeing specialists and all that stuff. So you knew something was going on. You hope he wouldn't have to retire.
And he chose not to, because if I remember the story correctly, he was told that he couldn't play anymore.
Yep.
That was it. But he, in his truth, this is who I am. I'm a basketball player, and his last moments were on the court.
Yeah, but and the thing about him, though, the thing about that Celtics team, though, if Bias and Lewis don't meet in early demise, bro, they could have legit went from Havlicek and not Havlicek, but they could have went from what's the big dude they had in the 70s? I keep forgetting his name. The power forward.
He's a Hall of Famer. Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
About.
He's MVP. Oh, it'll come to me. Not Havlicek. Oh my God.
The other dude. I forget his name.
Come on, old heads in the chat. Throw that name up in there.
Yeah, what I'm talking about. Cowens.
Yes.
Cowens.
Dave Cowens.
They could have legit went from Russell to Cowens to Bird to Bias and Lewis to Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
They could have legit did it. AD, can you imagine if those two young players didn't reach their demise? They could have went from Russell to Cowens to Bird to Bias and Lewis to Paul Pierce, bro.
A lot of things were not going to happen. The Detroit would have been delayed if they'd have been at the station at all.
Yeah, there would have been no Chicago Bulls, bro.
The Knicks in the 90s, you might not even heard of those great matchups against Chicago
right,
because those guys were that talented. Those players were that talented. But like I said, if the league is telling the truth, the owners of other teams at that time, they were happy that the Celtics started getting misfortune.
Right.
the late great Bill Russell has what 11 championships, something to that effect.
Yeah,
A
as a
player,
player,
and he won one as a coach because remember he was a player coach,
and he was a part of their organization
and
too.
he's part of the organization. He
Yeah.
wasn't a general manager, good
No, he was just
executive.
he was
That
just as much
wasn't
as
because he was horrible in Sacramento and things of that nature, but that doesn't discredit who he was and what he
in
meant to the
Seattle.
game. And Seattle, that doesn't mean that he wasn't what he was to the game,
Right.
but you're going from that many championships. No one likes you. You're like the Yankees. You're
Right.
always winning. No
Right.
one wants to be a part of that unless you're rooting for that team. So
Right.
teams and players and they were not like, oh, the Celtics are on a bad. No, no, let them go. And they were bad in the '90s. There's no Celtics in the '90s.
Right.
Period.
Right.
The Celtics don't reemerge until Walker, Pierce, Kenny Anderson, and that run that they had to the Eastern Conference Championship,
Derek
and that was what,
Anderson, Ron Mercer.
and that's what 2000, what, two,
No,
three?
no, that's 97. That's 98. They draft Paul Pierce as a rookie, right? But they
No,
already had Antoine Walker, Ron Mercer, Derek Anderson.
no, but
Uh,
they sucked.
no, no,
They
no,
don't,
no,
they, they don't get good until after Patino.
no. I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is that core of guys were drafted. They were
Yes,
trash,
yes.
right? They were trash. But what I'm saying is they became relevant, I think, in year 2 of that, right? They went from being terrible to being like a 40-win team. That's what it seemed like. Like them and the 90s Bulls did not coexist. So
No,
whatever the 90s Bulls thing, whenever the 90s Bulls fell off, Boston rebounded. Right? And so that's one of the reasons why I think I flat out hate the Boston Celtics. Because I think the NBA for some reason has handpicked them to be it. Like they don't even pronounce their name right.
I mean
Irish people. When you hear Irish people say that word, they say Celtics.
Boston.
They are the Boston Celtics.
Boston.
But since we're American, we say soft C Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
But and to that team, because if you remember, which I know you do, that McHale, Parrish, Bird, their last run, the Knicks closed the door on them
I remember
in
that.
'90.
I remember that.
That was it for them.
When Johnny Newman, cats like Johnny Newman, Gerald, we were so athletically superior to them.
Yes.
You remember the Pat Ewing reverse dunk on Robert Parrish?
Yes.
I think when they saw that was like, okay, no.
Or better yet, the reverse dunk missed by Larry Bird. Remember, the ball pops out. He makes a move on Newman, goes under the basket, comes around with the cuff, would seem like white man can really jump,
Yeah.
and he bangs it, and the ball does a woo, 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 popped out. It was like, this might be an omen to something.
This is.
And it gets better because that's the game where Ewing graduates against Parrish. He literally graduated. That series he graduated.
Right.
Because they lose the first 2 games and it seemed like, okay, there we go again. We came into the series, we lost 23 or 24 straight games to them. We lose the first 2 games, it's like 26 straight. Right. The Knicks win 2 games in the Garden. I believe Ewing has a 40-piecer in the Garden, if memory serves me correctly. No, memory does serve me correctly. In game 5, he comes back 38-5 or something like that with the spin with the Charles Oakley assist, driving into the lane, throws that off back, whatever the hell pass he does. Ewing catches it with the pirouette. A big man at 7 foot, 250 pounds should not be able to run full speed to the corner of the lane, jump, turn, twist, fire, glass.
Yep.
Boop, boop.
And that's why I'm saying when people tell me that Joel Embiid is better than Pat, I'm telling them to
No,
find the nearest skyscraper and jump out a window.
no,
It,
he's
there's
not Pat.
there's no way.
No, he's not Pat.
There's no
He's not Pat.
way,
He's not Pat.
bro. And so,
Mm.
but the other thing I dislike and borderline hate about the Celtics is they get a guy and those guys stay. Like you rarely hear about the disgruntled superstar in Boston. Like and I mean disgruntled for internal reasons, not external reasons. Right? You rarely hear about a player in New York, I mean in Boston, disgruntled for the sake of being disgruntled. Right?
Winning covers that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Winning covers that. And when you're that kind of legendary organization, you say the wrong thing, you may not get picked up by another team, especially back then. You know, players didn't badmouth organizations back then. They just didn't.
Right.
You know, if you did, like, nice term, Sprewell Carmissimo. Back then, I was of the mindset that Sprewell was 100% incorrect, wrong, because I'm like, no, you have to respect authority. You have to, from what we heard, Carmissimo said, put some more cheese on the taco or something like that, right? 30 years later, or as time has gone on, dribs and drabs, I saw Brian Shaw talking about it.
Right.
Carmissimo, like Sprewell was like, yo, leave me alone.
Right.
He kept bothering him.
Right.
He kept on, till finally Sprewell just lost it.
Right.
And they tried to keep it in-house. If that was Boston, that would have never happened.
Right.
You know,
if that was today, Carlissimo would have been fired.
On the spot.
Because of how we view bullying and workplace behavior and things of that sort.
And players have more power.
And players have more power now, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about that is, I always felt like Sprewell was right, right? And the reason why I felt like that is because I'm a veteran, and I've been in a military environment where you have like authoritarianism, right? Like one guy is in charge of a group of people, and he gonna say whatever he want to say to people to motivate them, even if they play stupid mind games. See, I had already been through that, so when I heard Sprewell choked out a coach, I was like, he probably had it coming.
I choked out my sergeant.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? He probably had it coming. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of and the thing about organization back then, about respecting authority, back then you knew that the mainstream media was gonna say, "Oh, a rich, pampered athlete defied regulation by putting his hands on, physically assaulting a coach." And this is not even a white and black issue. This is just people defying the guy that's supposed to be in charge of everything. But the thing about it is, PJ Carlissimo ain't never won shit in the NBA.
Nothing.
Right? I mean, the only thing PJ Carlissimo is known for in the NBA is getting choked by Sprewell and holding Popovich's clipboard. That's it.
Yes.
Nobody remember PJ Carlissimo in Portland.
He's one of those coaches that should have stayed in college.
He is one of those coaches that knows. To me, knowing basketball and being able to teach it are two different things. Right?
Yes.
To me, for instance, Jeff Van Gundy knows basketball, right? But being able to teach it on that level is Larry Brown knows basketball, right? In and out. But being able to teach it, that's another thing. Now, give you the other example. Brad Stevens may know 1/5 of what Larry Brown knows. But that 1/5 that he knows, he's going to get the very best. He's going to turn Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier, all them guys, he gonna turn them into excellent basketball players.
I liked Brad Stevens. I thought he
I
was a
love Brad
young, I
Stevens.
thought he was a good young coach that they needed to infuse that energy into the game, right?
Right.
But here's what I respect about them is that he took them as far as he thought he could at that time.
Right.
And this is when he leaves them. What, Tatum is in his third year?
Yeah.
Brown is in his third, maybe fourth year at the time, and so forth. He
Right.
leaves budding superstars, or maybe the Celtics kind of, because remember, Danny Ainge is the president, and you just heard that. Well, Ainge wants to retire, and blah 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 blah. So who's going to take over? Brad Stevens. Well, I thought Brad was the coach. Nah, Brad is going upstairs, and who's going to come down? Udoka.
Right.
Everything seemed to kind of make sense because he's pulling better moves as a general manager. Udoka, I said this before and I'll say it again. If Udoka wins that championship, they're not firing him. They're not firing him because he's banging. He's part of the bang crew and banging who's ever wife or whatever.
That's the listen. That's the bro. After I saw all the stuff with Diddy, there's no way you can tell me that's not the rich people culture, bro.
That's what they do. That's
Right,
just what they do. You know what? I don't have millions and millions of dollars to be able to take liberties and things with people or whatever. But when that came down with Udoka, I thought it was more to it. I thought he was embezzling money, and the way how they were going at it like it was some kind of CIA, missing Watergate tapes, documents, and come to find out, like, huh?
Right.
You firing him for infidelity? Where do we do that at?
Yeah.
He's not married to God. Don't get me wrong. To the lovely, super fine, her name is skipping me right now, but I'm talking about Nia Long, and he was married to her. Whatever they were pulling her into the mix of trying to ask her, how do you feel, and this, that, and the third, and blah blah. They were trying to Taylor Swift her for a moment, pulling her into the NBA narrative, and it was like she. To her credit, I don't think she said anything publicly in 3 or 4 years since that happened.
Right.
But Boston goes out and is feeling the Me Too movement and decides, well, let's jetson Udoka. We don't know if that was the right move as of this day.
Not yet. But the thing about Boston, though, the thing I wanted to point out is Boston don't give a shit about that. They give a shit about winning. I think they fired him because it was too much of a distraction. Bro, you think they care? All Boston want to do is win. Right? When Carmelo Anthony and Lala broke up, you know what we was talking about, right? Yo, you seen that picture of Lala on such and such and such? Melo crazy. Melo, yo, you seen that girl he knocked up, bro? Yo, such and such. Meanwhile, the Knicks on the court losing like a motherfucker, and Melo out here ISO and getting booed like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Melo out here living his stripper dreams.
Yeah. We out here.
Salute Carmelo, that's still my guy.
Salute to Melo.
Absolutely.
Melo, right? No disrespect to Melo, that's my guy, man. But Knicks fans, we out here. Yo, did you see them pictures? Did you see Lala, bro? And speaking of which, I just got to say this, AD, and not to get off topic, but I'm gonna get off topic twice, right? Just real quick. Salute to Lala, but hey, Lala, listen, man, maybe acting ain't your thing. I'm just gonna say, Lala, maybe acting, maybe being an actress. Maybe being an actress ain't your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was so hard. Damn, that was harsh, Freezy.
Nah.
Look, I think Lala has gotten better because I've seen her in the last Raising Kanan episode and so forth, and she had a moment in there when I was like,
okay, yeah, right.
It was believable, and I say that because actors want to be basketball players, that basketball players want to be actors. It's always a natural transition or let's exchange kind of thing. One of my favorite artists of all times, and this is not a stain on you at all, I don't think Mary J. Blige is a very good actor or actress or whatever the term
No.
is.
No.
When I seen her but then I saw her in, what is that movie in that Netflix? Was it called Mudbound or something to that effect? Where she plays like a early 1900s mom, sharecropper, the whole Jim Crow, whatever. And she was pretty good in that role. So maybe it's a role. So let's not be too harsh on Lala.
Bro, did you? So you
What a name like that. You see them big, beautiful brown eyes? Can you stop it? Can you stop it?
I'm not saying that, bro. I'm not.
Damn it, she's gonna win an Emmy.
Oh, she gonna win something. It won't be an award. She gonna win something, but it won't be a trophy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because
you ain't no good, Freezy.
I was on social media on one of the social media platforms, and they was talking about her role in BMF, and I was like, they showed the scene, and I was like, her ass is terrible. Her ass is
damn.
In that role, salute to Lala and
Lala, I'm here for you, Lala. Stop it. Freezy gonna stop. Freezy gonna stop this nonsense.
Nah, bro, when you see the scene, you like, yo, this shit is what the hell we watching?
Stop it, Freezy. You gotta stop it and stop it.
We doing it for the culture, bro.
Yes,
bro. If I was terrible, if I had a terrible AD, come on, bro. When have I ever made a terrible take and you were like, "Hey, Uncle Freezy, man, that shit was terrible."
I wouldn't let it slide.
when have you ever? Yeah, come on, bro.
I mean, like I said, I saw recent things. She had a moment that made me look at her a little different as far as acting wise was concerned, But I don't think she's the worst, But hey,
never said she the worst. I'm just saying that
she all right. Keep working at it, Lala. We here. I'm here.
Practice.
He's in here for you, but I'm here for you.
Get them free throws up. You gotta get in the gym. You gotta get in the gym. But when they asked her if it was worth it, and she's like, every single inch. You're like, oh my, this shit is what the fuck?
I think I like that line, yo. For real, I think because think about it, Freezy. In today's day, social media and whatever, you're not hearing women saying something like that. Maybe she shouldn't have been the one to deliver that line, but because you know what that line suggests, it's overt.
Yeah, I know.
Right? On nowhere are you hearing women speak like that as far as in a heterosexual manner. It would be in the opposite in today's generation. So for that, I give BMF or BFM, whatever, BMF a little credit, because there's a woman was like, yo, this is what I'm about. And I'd be willing to die for it. Maybe it didn't come across great from her, but I appreciated the line. I did.
When I saw that line, it's two lines that I saw that I think were the worst lines that I ever saw in a movie. That one, and when I heard a very famous actress say, "You told Harpo to beat me." When I heard that for the first time, yo, we was running around laughing our ass off. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
You told Harpo to beat me. I was like,
until you do right by me, Freezy, everything you touch gonna turn bad. I love that. I still love that movie. I haven't seen the remake, but that's Oprah at her best.
Bro, oh my God.
Harpo, you want a dead son-in-law, Miss Seeley? You keep advising him the way you've been doing.
Hey, bro, I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. You know we gotta do it. We gotta do it for the culture, whatever, man. But yeah, man.
I love that movie. I don't care. I don't care. 50 years from now, I'm still gonna love that movie. If I'm still there.
Almost been 50 years.
It was
what, 84?
86. I saw that originally in a movie theater, and I have told people over the years it's probably the one time probably my entire immediate family that I can remember, and more so, we went to the movies together.
Right.
So we literally took up half a row.
Yep. Yep.
Center City, Philadelphia, 1986. We saw it as a family. We came out of that movie theater singing and chirping and loving that movie, and I still
Right.
love it because
Right.
there's something that when you watch in the movies on the big screen that the small screen can never recapture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never recapture. And that was one of those movies. I get it. There's a lot of today it's narcissism. The men are being the men and blah blah blah, blah and how they gonna do that, da, 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 da. I get it. I'm all of that. I'm from a woman. You understand? I get all of that.
Right.
But
Women, we love
the
y'all.
the artistry of it,
Yeah.
like when you see old Mister, when old Mister steals the movie.
Yeah, of course.
Old Mister steals the old Mister don't look nothing like young Mister.
Right.
Old Mister is like half his size, but old Mister commanded that kind of respect that adults don't command from their children today.
Chat, y'all miss what AD said.
That when he sees his father, if you see
Right.
that beginning scene, him and his father, they're on the porch,
Yep.
they kind of twirling around together, and his father, who's looking up at him, gave him that better sit down, and he sits down.
Right.
Why? Because that's his father.
Right. Yeah.
And he doesn't say another word until he says, "Sheely, hand paw his hat." I love that movie. As you can tell, I know it was line for line. I love that movie.
We used to watch that movie twice a year, every year. It used to come on Thanksgiving on TBS. We used to sit down and watch it every year. And Miss Janice, one of my good friends, Ted, his mother used to, and I joke, me and Mo joke that so because we got like a big diverse group of friends that we hang out with, right? And so our joke is when we used to go to some of our friends' houses that we were the affirmative action couple. like like we used to joke like when we walk in the music would change. Like it'll go from Tom Petty to Run DMC when we show up. We like, yo, why y'all take off the Tom Petty?
Little Barry Manilow.
Yeah,
little Mandy. A little Mandy. All of a sudden you hear walk this way.
Like when we walk in, they playing the Eagles, and then all of a sudden Earth, Wind and Fire come on. But Miss Janice, bless her heart, she passed away, gone to glory now.
Absolutely.
But she used to see us, and every time she used to see me and Mo, she'll ask us, like, the color purple came on this week. And the first time she asked, and I was like, and the first time she asked me that, right? The first time she asked me, I was like, Miss Janice, you asking us that because we black? She was like, no, of course not. Because it ain't no thing like that. Because if we didn't want y'all to be here, we wouldn't have invited you. And I'd be like, yeah, and I wouldn't, But she loved that movie so much, not because of the color of the characters, but the sensibilities of all the characters. Like in those characters, you could see those were just everyday people. It wasn't just about black and white. It was just about people in that movie. Like when you said when they was on the porch, when they on that scene on the porch, that wasn't just about black people. That was just about anybody in that scene, right? But here's the thing I want to ask you about. And it's Celtics related. Do you think you would ever see a marginal athlete be as good as Larry Bird?
Luka. He's not as good as Larry, but he's a marginal athlete.
Here's my thing to that. I think Luka's better than Larry Bird. And not only that, Woo! I think Luka at this age is better than Michael Jordan at the same age.
All right, people. Thank you very much for joining us at this.
And I'm not talking about 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33-year-old Mike. Right? I'm talking about
Oh my God, Freezy.
Can this dude? I'm talking about controlling the game. I think Luka might be, for his age. I think Luka's what, 24,
Near about 25, 24, 25.
24, 25, something like that. Yeah, I think a 24, 25-year-old Luka may be better than a 24-year-old Larry Bird.
Okay, Freezy, stop right there for a second, right? I want to remind you that you think Embiid cannot don a stitch on Patrick Ewing's jersey.
Right, because Pat's the GOAT.
All right. Okay. And why? Because a lot of Embiid's numbers and stuff is in today's
Inflated.
it's inflated.
Yeah.
If Embiid is inflated, what is Luka? Luka has the ball prior to Irving. I mean, prior to Kyrie, and even with Kyrie, Luka has the ball all the time. When, for fans not old enough, okay, when Bird comes to the Celtics the previous year had won 21 games.
Yeah.
They make a 41 game jump. They won 62 games in his initial year. He beats Magic for the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
They're winning championships.
But
Shortly after that.
All right, so for one, that 2-year stretch before Bird got there, Boston was old and they had a lot of injuries.
Don't matter. The moment he arrived, they're 40 games better.
Yeah. And mind you, listen, nobody is a bigger fan outside of Celtics universe of Larry Bird than I am. Right? I think Larry Bird is a top 7 NBA player all time. Right? Top 7. Right? And the only reason why I say top 7 is because you got to at some point admit LeBron James is a top 7 player also. And you can only have 7 people in the top 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
So my thing is, so I respect Larry Bird, and I saw some of the things that he did on Larry Bird. Bro, Larry Bird played an entire game against the Portland Trailblazers with his left hand, bro.
Yes. Larry Bird is in the same time span, which is the first 6 to 7 years of their career. Larry Bird is 3-time MVP. 3 back-to-back years. MVP. Right. Multiple championships. In order for Luka or anybody to get on that level, you got to come out the gate winning. Period. You have to come out the gate changing the culture of your environment.
Can I
hold on 1 second? Just give me 5 seconds. If you remember 85 or 84 as they're about to name Magic Tragic. Right? The Lakers are leading in that series.
Yeah.
Celtics were soft up until the post-game interview when Larry Bird lays into his team.
Yep.
The next game, you're watching Rambis get knocked out of the air by Mikhail. And that was all on the marching orders of the captain. Luka ain't telling nobody to knock nobody out of the air. Luka ain't getting on no post game. He's not Dirk. He's not Dirk calling out. What's that big stiff they got from the Pacers in Dallas back in the early 2000s? Oh, and the Knicks almost got him. Name's skipping me right now. But he's not. Dampier. Remember how Dirk called out? Luka's not doing that. There's levels to this. There's no knock on Luka, but he's not them. Not at this point in his career. He's not them.
No, but hear me out on this too, because I understand your point. Because for one, let me point out something. In Larry Bird's prime years, say from day 1 to 90, right? From 70 from
79 to 87.
Well, I want to include 90 because the teams weren't good, but Larry Bird was still good.
Okay.
Right. During that time, Larry Bird had a all-star caliber point guard the entire time, right? Larry Bird also had the deepest bench in the NBA during that entire stretch. Like there are guys coming off the Celtics bench that we forget, like Jerry Seaston, like Jim Paxson, Bill Walton, Cornbread Maxwell,
Excellent.
names like that. These dudes should have been starters somewhere else, but they came to Boston to win a chip, right? And no big deal because the Lakers did the same thing. But what I'm saying, if we're talking just in the context of the Celtics, Larry Bird always had a team around him that he didn't have to do it all, right? Where he could just be the star. He didn't have to be the star and the announcer and the chauffeur and the piano player and all of that. So that's the reason why when I talk about the GOAT conversation and people ask me about Mike versus LeBron, I always say that Mike is not the GOAT, right? In my opinion, it's a two-way, it's a tie between LeBron and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I would give it the nod to LeBron because for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career, he always had a generational talent at point guard. For Kareem, for his entire career in the league, right? He always had generational talent. And I'm not talking about like an Allen Iverson. I'm talking about top 10 guy at point guard, right? Like Kareem's whole career, he had a top 5 all-time point guard, right? So when people say, man, you crazy for comparing him to Pat, you think Pat better than Cap? I'm not saying Pat is better than Cap. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what if Pat Ewing played with Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson? This is all I'm saying. Cap is still better, but what I'm saying is context, right? So the Larry Bird thing in context, look at the team Larry Bird is on and look at their everything was peak for Larry Bird. And then look at the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic.
That's not fair, Freezy. And I'm going to tell you and I'm going to tell you why, Freezy, because you always make this argument as far as players who have more versus players who have less. I'm not coming from there, okay? Because I can't blame Mike because somebody had the foresight to put Scotty next to him.
Right.
Okay? But how do those pieces look around these guys? Perfect example. The Portland Trailblazers of the late 80s into early 90s.
Right.
If you want to go man for man with them and the Bulls, they're almost as talented, right?
No, they're more physically talented than the Bulls.
So I'll give you that. They're more physically, they're athletic. They got a point guard. They got a Duckworth at center. They can run. They can jump. And they got Drex, who's one of the best top 4 shooting guards of all times.
Right.
When it was time for the rubber to meet the road. Okay? When it was time to pick up the pieces for the guys who are not playing as well, when I need a bucket and you can't stop it, Drex wasn't that guy.
No.
There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of good teams that you can pull out that star player that has good guys around him, but when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, same thing with the Celtics. What were the Celtics before Bird? What were they after Bird? Better yet, what were they after Bird?
Right.
So it's not, I get the point of you have to have the players and, okay, I'm there with all of that. But the driving force, the nail that he's going to show up. You know Bird is going to show up in a game 7.
Every time.
Mike is going to show up in a game.
He's not going to get to a game 7.
You're not getting to a game 7 with Mike.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Some of these guys, so Luka has yet to do that. Luka he's had good pieces on his. God damn it, he got Kyrie Irving on his team right now.
Right. And who else? Their third best player is Tim Hardaway Jr.
No, he's not. Stop.
Their third best player is Tim Hardaway Jr., bro, right now.
Yeah, I'll give you one better. You know, Dallas got further when Luka was hurt, and who was the star? Brunson.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that with Luka, he needs more. Points don't tell you everything. Stats don't tell you everything. I'm sorry. Just not. It's not fair that Dallas was able to amass the kind of players that he. But who's to say if he had those guys, he would utilize them? Who's to say if those guys come in, those guys are gonna take their roles? You have to have someone to be Kobe-like to give you your role.
Okay.
Like, this is the pecking order. It's me and everybody else. Fall in line.
Right. Michael Jordan averaged in his age 24 season, or say 25 season, Michael Jordan averaged 32, 8 assists and 8 rebounds, 32, 8 and 8 is what he averaged at his age 25 season. Right. And I don't know if y'all remember in that age 25 season. And this is something that me as a basketball nerd remembers, right? But Doug Collins asked that man to play point guard.
Yes.
Remember Collins moved him to the point?
There was a moment there. I think he had, if I remember correctly, he had like 10 straight games of double digit assists.
Right. That man legit would come down and break and the thing is I know Kenny Smith and his hating ass always say Michael Jordan didn't have handles and Mike couldn't go left, right? But how can an NBA player average 10 assists a game, right? 10 assists a game at point guard if you can't dribble the basketball or go left, right? And so when I parse participles, right? While I'm parsing participles, I'm not saying that one guy is bad or anything like that. What I'm saying is this is the most elite of the most elite.
Okay.
Right? I'm not saying that one guy is bad because the other one is good. I'm not saying that. Right? But it's like the conversation we have with the spinners, the stylistics, and Delphonics. Right? We're not saying that one group is bad because we prefer another group. We're saying they're all great, but I think these one key things, these one key indicators separates one from another. Is what I'm getting at. Like
Michael
when I say
Michael would take your heart.
Huh?
Michael would take your heart.
Yeah.
Larry would take your heart.
Right.
You know, Larry walks into the 3-point shooting competition and asks people who's got second place.
He didn't take his warm-up jacket off.
He didn't take his warm-up jacket off.
I mean,
walks off with the Broadway Joe finger.
Yo, he shoots the last 2 shots. He shoots the last shot, right? The last shot, he shoots it. I mean, the penultimate shot, he puts it in the air and grabs the other ball. He knows the one he just shot goes in, and then he shoots the last ball, turns around with his finger in the air, walking towards the trophy.
Boom.
Right? I mean, come on. We talking about Larry Bird, bro.
Yeah, we talking about Larry Bird.
We talking about Larry Bird. So it's no disrespect to Larry Bird. What I'm saying is Luka Doncic is not buffet pizza.
No, he's not. Let
me tell everybody something. Luka Doncic is when it's in about 6 years, we're gonna be saying Luka is in the GOAT conversation. And you don't have to play 29 years to be in the GOAT conversation, by the way. If you put up 10 solid seasons in the NBA, you could be in the GOAT conversation. And in my opinion, you don't have to put up a Kobe Bryant type career.
He's gonna have to win though, Freezy.
You're
not gonna be in the GOAT conversation if you're not a winner.
But the thing about that, AD, and you know this to be true because you're a Knicks fan, right? and you're a Jets fan.
Yes,
players don't win championships. Organizations win championships.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Well, he's going to have to get on an organization that wins the championship.
Right. And see, the thing that's the reason why I say Mike is not the GOAT. right? Because the reason why I say Mike is not the GOAT, because as good as Michael Jordan was on the court, Jerry Krause was that way in the front office.
Yes.
Right? When Jerry Krause took over that team,
doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Jerry Krause took over a team that had George Gervin, Orlando Woolridge, dudes that didn't even care nothing about basketball.
Let's be in context though. George Gervin at that time was 43 years old. He was old and he was old and done.
Yeah. No doubt. And respect to him. I'm not saying that I'm not even pointing out the fact that they were good or bad people. What I'm saying, or good or bad players, I'm saying that is where they were.
Yes.
It's like when I talk about Leon Rose, I'm not going to talk about the fact that Elfrid Payton and them was here, whatever. That's the roster that they took over when they got here.
Yes.
Right. But what I'm saying is Jerry Krause took that team from being. That team was. You could compare that team right now to who in the league can you compare it to?
What? Which Bulls team? The one he took over?
Yeah, the one he took over. That team was probably like a Washington Wizards right now, where you have guys on the team that can score in the league. You know they ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They got big bloated contracts and all that stuff and all of that stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And Krause took that team and slowly added piece at a time, right? They drafted Pippen and Grant, right? They didn't know Pippen was going to be the guy. They thought Horace Grant was going to be the guy first because Horace Grant had been a better player on a higher level of college basketball. Pippen was the guy you take as a developmental project, and if everything goes right, he'll be Mike's running mate for the next 15 seasons. Because the Bulls also took other gambles on similar type guys as Pippen, like Scott Burrell, and it didn't work. Right?
But that was a high gamble. Because remember, they traded Olin Polynice, who was a stud in college.
Right.
They make that draft day trade.
Right.
One, the Seattle has the Knicks pick that year, which is number 5 or 7.
You know how they got that pick, right?
Yeah, because the Knicks traded for through the Celtics. Gerald Henderson.
Gerald Henderson, that's right.
What? No disrespect, Gerald, but you were washed at that time.
Yes, you were washed, and you had the free throw line shooting.
Yeah, when interim general manager, what's his name, Don Sterling or something like that. I know his last name was Sterling. Who makes that trade?
That's an '80s name right there, bro.
Yeah, Sterling. What you talking about? Freezy?
Yeah, I used to know a chick used to drive a Sterling. You remember Sterling's the car?
Sterling's, that's from those are the England cars. They were like the Crusader. Sterlings were hot, but
they were hot. They were like the what's the
don't let it break down though. It was the Sterling. The Sterling was like the equivalent to the Maxima.
Right.
It was Sterling, Maxima, right. Crusader. Those were like the three in that. Cressida, right? I said Crusader.
Yeah, West Indians, boy, you can't get you. Yeah, man.
So that was it. Absolutely. But Freezy, I do got to dip, sir.
Me too. I got to get
in this conversation, but absolutely, it was a great time as always.
You're having too much fun up here, bro. Hey,
I know.
We're talk about the Knicks, bro.
I know. That's because we know what the Knicks are. We saw them last night. I'm gonna say one thing on this. Last night might have been the best watched NBA game that I've seen this season.
I think it was
I say that because the refs held the whistles, and you saw like two heavyweight fighters just throwing haymakers. I haven't seen so many people get slapped in the face. I mean, the Knicks literally was slapping what's the name? What's my guy? The center. They must have slapped Sabonis in the face like 10 times.
10 times. Yep.
I mean, it was back and
And
forth.
I watched the Sacramento broadcast, and they were crying.
I was watching the Sacramento broadcast. They were crying. Oh, this is going to be a fight. They better stop this. It's getting out of control. I'm like, don't you enjoy seeing the spirited competition, the combat? Like this is why so many basketball fans have kind of turned away because the game is too easy to score. You saw last night. Now, if that was happening to the Knicks, if we were getting body blowed like that, I would have been pissed off. But as just a game to watch, that was a good game. Very good game. And I enjoyed it immensely, not only because the Knicks, made you quit.
Right. Hey, so just real quick before we get out of here, salute the Endgame. Endgame mentioned us talking about boxing. And so I'm gonna put you on the spot, bro. When we gonna start talking about boxing on one of these channels we got up?
I'm ready when you are. Let's get it.
Yeah, I wanna talk about two boxes real quick before we get out of here. One is what's the guy that was outside of the big four, the middleweight divisions? He was not Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Sugar Ray. Benitez.
Well, Benitez is not middleweight. He's welterweight, super welterweight.
And I meant to say welterweight.
Wilfredo Benitez.
I want to talk about him some. And
Prodigy.
Yeah. Nice.
Still holds the record as being the youngest world champion. He was world champion at 17.
Right. The sweetest hands, bro.
Defeats Palomino in he decisions Palomino. This is like 17 years old. He was thought of as a prodigy at that time. Right. When he loses, people forget, when he loses to Ray Leonard is 22. He's 23. I think Ray Leonard is older than him.
Right.
If Ray Leonard is 23, he's 22.
Right.
If Ray Leonard is 22, he's 21. Right. But he's the champion at that time. And if you remember that last round, they stopped the fight with like 7 seconds to go.
Right.
Still makes no sense.
That man was getting his face bust off, AD. The referee don't know. Well, you know what? I take that back. At the end of every round, they bang on the ring to let everybody know
10 seconds.
It's about 10 seconds left in the round.
Or the light flashes.
Yeah. Well, back
then they didn't necessarily have. No, some arenas had the light flashing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't standard.
Right. And so that way, and they do that at the end of a round to let the referee know in the case of a fighter not being able to be saved by the bell and all this stuff to let everybody know where you at in the round and all that stuff. But I think we have to talk about Benitez. And I think we need to talk about your idea of guys being 250 pounds and up, being in their own division.
They need to be in their own division. But the thing is, you don't have enough quality guys to make a separate division from heavy to super heavy. It's why you were pissed off at what's his name, Ngannou last week, because you're watching a 280-pound man that's not very skilled, but it's the best you have.
Right. But at the same time, though, when I watch strawweight and featherweight, I'm thinking the same thing. I don't think you have enough talent down there for you to even have those divisions. Right? I think you should. Yo, why am I watching dudes at 118 pounds? It's like watching chicks fight. In my mind.
Bantamweight fighters. You've had some classic. You got some great small guys. That's some great bantamweight. That's 118 is bantam. Then above that is junior
junior
feather. Junior feather. Then
what's
feather.
Bantamweight? 110.
No. It's not a junior bantam. Below bantam is flyweight. So that's 112. or
Yeah,
113
yeah. I
somewhere.
don't want to. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, flyweight. I don't want to watch that shit, bro.
No, but you'd have some you'd have some great fights down there. You always Pacquiao comes from flyweight.
But I'm not
Remember
talking
that.
about. You're gonna have great fights in anything because styles make fights. What I'm talking about is the quality, having consistent championship level talent at those levels
It's better there than it is at the heavyweight than at
at
the
50,
heaviest.
50 and above. Yes,
It's way better there
right,
because
right,
because the heavyweight guys, what they give you, what 3, 4 maybe good rounds before it's a lot of a lot of hugging,
right.
a lot of grabbing, a lot of mauling.
But at 112, you see dudes getting hit in the face 40 times around and nobody gets hurt.
That's because Mexicans can take a good punch. No disrespect to my Mexican fan base. You know, hey, you know, I love some of the great fighters. Some of the great fighters of boxing has ever seen has come from Mexico.
Right now, and yeah, I'm not. And listen, in terms of fighters, if you want a chin, you got it. Central South America, the chins. It must be in the genetics.
I think so. It's
It
in
must
the
be in
water.
in, in the in
It's
the
in the
genetics, man.
in
And
the
then you're talking
water.
about the opposite, not having a chin and always gonna get England. Cats from for some reason, cats from Europe, for some reason, I don't know what it is, and I'm not saying that they're soft. I'm saying that you could easily see a 6'9", 285 pound Tyson Fury get hit and knocked down and get back up.
You mean Joshua?
Yeah, Joshua.
Now you talking about Joshua?
You remember Ricky Hatton?
I, I'll say this for England and the English fighters. Marvin Hagler wins the championship in Wembley against Hunter, right?
I
And
remember the dude. Yeah,
he destroys him,
right.
beats
And
him
they
badly.
start throwing stuff in the ring.
They
Man,
threw bottles in the ring.
so classless, bro.
The Petronellis and the corner, they had to cover him. He could
Right.
not, you know, Marvin always got some kind of slight. You know, here you are, you know, you just beat this man to a frazzle, right?
Right.
And you want the referee to raise your hand,
No,
right?
come on.
And you got to run for your life, right? Classless,
Right.
classless. That at that time we didn't know he was going to be one of the greats to ever do it, but he then goes on to be
My
one of the
uncle did
greats to
too.
ever
My
do it.
uncle, no lie, from day one, AD, not to cut you, but my uncle
Mhm.
said from day one when he saw Hagler, he was like with a
That's
cigarette
New
in his
York's
mouth.
own.
That
You know
boy
he from
could be the
you
champ.
know he from Jersey, right?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. My uncle them said from day one when he saw him. I remember my uncle. This was like I mean I might have been like 8 years old. He was like, "Yo, that boy right there gonna be the champ." And I was like, "Who him?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "But he ain't even famous. He ain't nobody." And this is around the 76 Olympic. This is like when Sugar Ray is not the champ,
But he
but
is the
you know
champ.
he's
But he's the guy.
yeah.
Or
This is
he's
like
about to be the guy.
yeah, and for those that maybe need a better example, the Olymp say around the Olympics time come and you see a Roy Jones Jr. dominate in the Olympics or Floyd get robbed in the Olympics. Did like these guys get robbed in the Olympics and you see him, you're like he gonna be the guy. He's gonna be. It's
Marv,
like
Marvin just, one, he's a southpaw. And back then,
a
cats-
natural.
a natural southpaw. And cats did not want to fight southpaws back then.
Right.
And as Joe Frazier told him, he said 3 things. 1, you're black. 2, you're a southpaw. 3, you're good.
Yep.
It took Marvin like 7 to 8 years before he even got his first title shot against Anafermo.
And
Who's,
was getting
who's,
robbed along the way too, by the way.
it was a tough fight. He gets robbed, and that was on the undercard of Leonard Benitez.
Yep.
Think about that. Hagler Anafermo comes first before Leonard Benitez. You don't got cards like that
Yeah,
anymore.
you ain't got cars like that no more, bro.
Ever. You're never going to see a card like that again.
That's why whenever I get this retirement thing straightened out, I'm moving to Queens, New York, bro, so I can open me a boxing gym.
Is he gonna be it's gonna be empty. Nobody fighting on it.
Yeah, or probably, or not necessarily Queens, but maybe Jersey City,
Something
down off Communipol.
Get
You
these
know what I'm saying?
youth.
Something close to the city where we can have a gym, and maybe I'll be open a place like Green's Grocery. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, where you know, so we can come in and let the kids fight, and make some money.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
Absolutely. But I gotta run, Freezy.
I gotta
We
get
gotta
out of
leave
here.
it here. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We don't know where this conversation started, but we know where it ended. It ended with you. Look for me and Freezy in the whirlwind. Garvey.
Peace, everybody. Yo, should we play the outro?
Come on, stop it. You know
Okay.
you know the answer is.
Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there.